morning and welcome to Korea Today, brought to you live from Seoul.
For the first time since the outbreak, the Animal and Plant Quarantine Agency lifts its standstill lockdown from farms with suspected cases of H5N8 avian influenza after test results returned negative.
Efforts to contain an oil spill in waters off of Yeosu continue for a fourth day today. Details coming up in the headlines. And the girl statue in the U.S. gets a high-profile visit. We'll show you who on In Print.
The Lunar New Year holiday is over, but you can keep the party going with some creative recipes for the holiday leftovers. Stay tuned for that on Hot Clicks.
For the first time in 6 years, photographer Kim Atta returns with another philosophical project, this time getting his inspirations from white canvas. We sit down with the artist to learn more. Be it clothing or food, consumers are breaking out of seasonal trends. From a splash in the water park to an icy cold treat in the winter, we look at trends that know no season on this Monday, February 3rd, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
Good morning. You're joining us on a Monday morning from the holidays.
Not Friday, back to Monday, back to the daily grind. Good morning, everyone. Hope you had a nice, long, happy Lunar New Year holiday. But not everyone got to enjoy the break, though. Quarantine officials, for example, had to work around the clock, quite literally, 3 shifts, 8 hours each, to contain the spread of avian influenza. Whether their efforts go in vain or do pay off remains to be seen.
That's right, working round the clock. They're also due to the biggest ever case of information leak here in Korea. Credit card company employees have been working through the holidays trying to eradicate a solution for the problem that 20 million consumers and credit card holders are facing.
That's right. Well, for those of you who got to enjoy the nice long break, all 4 days of it too, it's back to the daily grind, back to work,
That's
back
the sad
to
part, right?
back to reality. It is. It is Monday. Let's get a check on the day's headlines with Na Hyung-kyung.
Back to work indeed. Let's start off with the bird flu outbreak. Test results that will tell us whether the bird flu outbreak has spread to the country's southeast will likely come out sometime today. This comes after a chicken farm in the southeastern city of Busan reported a suspected case of avian influenza last week and sent samples to a lab for a detailed testing. Test results from another duck farm in the central Chungcheongbuk-do region may also be announced today. Meanwhile, lockdown measures at 3 farms, including 1 chicken farm in Gyeonggi-do province near Seoul, have been lifted after their samples concluded the birds did not die of the highly pathogenic H5N8 strain of bird flu. This is the first time the government has lifted a standstill ban after a duck farm in the southwestern Jeollabuk-do province was confirmed to have been affected with the bird flu on January 17th. And cleanup efforts for the oil spill that occurred in Korea's southwestern waters off of the coast of Yeosu continue. Officials are still trying to figure out exactly how much oil leaked into the ocean after a Singapore-registered oil tanker collided into a landing bridge last Friday. No oil has leaked from the tanker itself, but oil in some of the damaged pipelines from the collision leaked into the ocean.
The area has beaches and local residents make a living by running ocean-related businesses. But now it has practically become a dead ocean.
Now, 70 Coast Guard vessels as well as thousands of officials and soldiers were deployed to the site to help contain the spill over the holiday. The Korea Coast Guard says further investigation is needed to determine why the tanker veered off route and crashed into a landing bridge. As part of the government's efforts to reform state-run companies' finances, Korea's debt-ridden public institutions have vowed to slash their debts by a further 40 trillion won, or roughly $37 billion by the year 2017. The Finance Ministry says 18 public entities, including the Korea Land and Housing Corporation and the Korea Electric Power Corporation, plan to attract private capital and delay launching some of their projects to cut their liabilities. Some Some 40 public institutions also say they will reduce employee benefits by $1,300 per person this year. Further details will be finalized and announced later this month, after which the government will evaluate whether they have stuck to their plans at the end of the third quarter. The three credit card companies responsible for one of Korea's worst personal data breaches in history will each be suspended from issuing new credit cards for 3 months. Kookmin, Lotte, and Nongyap namely involved in the breach that affected 20 million people last month. That's almost all of Korea's financially active individuals will be put under business suspension as early as February 17th.
I know it may be difficult, but please do look at the bigger picture and secure the positions of your telemarketers with responsibility so that their financials are not affected.
The exact date of the suspension will be finalized after a 10-day hearing. In the meantime, Korea's Financial Supervisory Service, in light of the recent data leak, will start special security inspections on some 30 firms in the financial industry, including banks and credit card companies, starting today.
And good morning, everyone. Hope those of you celebrating had a great Lunar New Year's Day. Let's go ahead and take a look at what some of the major dailies in Korea are highlighting as the top stories to kick off the work week. We begin with an image that graces a couple of our newspapers this morning. Over at 동아일보, it takes us to Glendale, California, and the title reads, Congressman Ed Royce pays respects to the girl statue. The symbol, of course, of the Korean women taken as sex slaves by the Japanese during World War II, many of them still waiting for a sincere apology. The California congressman pictured there, who also heads the House Foreign Affairs Committee, is quoted in the caption as having said that the war crimes of Japan is history that needs to be learned in schools. And Representative Royce's visit was a first by a federally elected official to the girl statue that was erected last year. Meanwhile, the headline just above it takes us back to Korea, and it reads, with a click of a mouse, someone can write up your resume. 동아일보 took to the internet with a person's name and web ID to see what kind of personal information it could dig up, and was able to collect some 10 pieces of data, including home address, school, and a list of work experience. This is data that presumably was voluntarily disclosed by the said person, and the Daily is raising the concern that coupled with the millions of pieces of information now floating in the marketplace in the aftermath of that massive credit card company data breach, the danger for a new type of online scam is real. All right, next up, we'll go ahead and take a look at the top headline on Gyeongyang Shinmun. It reads, construction of Four Rivers Restoration Project depleted 41% of wetlands. This is based on a report by the Korea Environment Institute. These subheadlines say that area of diminished wetlands is 17 times the area of Yeouido, it adds, and that the biggest impact is seen in the basin of Nakdonggang River. Scooting right over to our next daily now, 조선일보's headline this morning reads, 62 public institutes forge secret agreements with labor and management to hide special favors. This is based on the paper's own analysis of some 304 public notices, the subheadlines note, in what it calls a first confirmation of such secret deals that had long been suspected. Its finding included the disbursement of free treasury stocks to Gangwon Land employees and a provision that would allow for automatic promotions at the Land and Housing Corporation. The lead explains that these deals were meant to hide the public institute's excessive welfare plans and high wages. We'll go ahead and wrap things up with a look at our business daily for this morning. Mail Business newspaper's headline reads, tapering part 2 deals heavy blow to Eastern Europe as IMF calls for emerging economies to take emergency measures. The lead reports that starting this month, the U.S. Fed Reserve will pull back its bond buying program by $20 billion from its initial levels, or double the reduction from January. This announcement came following Chairman Ben and Bernanke's final meeting last Wednesday, and the impact of it is already being felt in the Eastern European markets, as the inserted chart shows. The falling currency values in Hungary, Poland, Ukraine, Serbia, and Croatia. Hungary seeing its valuation fall a whole 2.35%. The subheadline, meanwhile, quotes the chairman of Financial Services Commission here in Korea, Shin Jae-yoon, as saying that the unfolding impact could be greater than anticipated. And with that, we'll wrap your look at what's in print on this Monday. Next up are your closing numbers from Friday's market action.
I see all the Asian markets were closed for the Lunar New Year holiday, but it is back to work. It's Monday, and you might want to bundle up on your way to work this morning.
Yes, temperatures are expected to drop starting tonight, and we're going to go for the weather updates with Lee Dami joining us from Gangnam-gu District. Good morning, Dami.
Good morning, Dami.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'm reporting live from Gangnam-gu, Seoul. I hope all of you enjoyed your Lunar New Year's holiday, as the temperatures were a bit on the mild side. But starting today, the story is a bit different. It is very cold this morning. Right now, temperatures are at a chilly minus 1.8 degrees Celsius. But there are signs of strong gusty winds blowing our way, so our body temperatures are going to feel much colder. Like Minjung mentioned, make sure to bundle yourselves up when heading outdoors. Later in the day, our highs won't get any warmer. Our temperatures will stay below zero at minus 1 degrees. Now, due to the abrupt change in climate, there will be signs of thick patches of fog in some areas. So for those of you out on the roads, please be cautious. Now, tomorrow we're expecting the peak of this cold snap, as lows will drip all the way down to minus 10 degrees. Now, this cold snap will continue up until Wednesday, and on Thursday we're expecting conditions to warm up. So until then, hang in there, and let's go ahead and take a look at the weather for today. Seoul's highs are at a freezing minus 1, Daejeon at 4, Daegu at 9, Gangneung at 5, Busan the warmest at 13, Gwangju at 6, and Jeju at 8 degrees. That's all I have for the weather. I'll be back in the latter half.
Still ahead on Korea Today, photographer Kim Atta has always studied the existence of humans instead of just focusing on the outer beauty. He has begun a new project that has not yet been attempted in the art scene. We sit down with the artist to learn more about his latest project.
Well, the Lunar New Year holiday has come to an end here in Korea as of yesterday, but celebrations will continue over in China, when the holiday will continue until this Thursday, and an estimated 80,000 people from China are expected to visit Korea during this period. But the big question is, are there enough lodging facilities to accommodate them?
And there seems to be a problem on that front, and to eradicate the situation, the Korean government has begun building a new policy to increase the number of accommodations for foreign tourists. And Kim Chan-ju joins us this morning to tell us more. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. According to the latest data by the Korea Culture and Tourism Institute, Korea is going through a serious accommodation shortages when it comes to foreign travelers. So in one case, in 2012, there was a large protest by Chinese tourists who purchased a package with the local travel agency that brought them to a 24-hour sauna instead of a hotel to spend the night. So the government wants to increase the number of tourist hotels. Now, the tourist hotel is an accommodation with 30 or more rooms, along with dining, culture, and performance facilities that is smaller than upscale hotels. But there are many difficulties when it comes to constructing these tourist hotels, so I went out to find out the details. Korea is seeing a growing number of foreign tourists each year. Last year, the number of visitors to Korea hit 12 million, the highest number yet to be seen.
The number is expected to reach 16 million by the year 2017 and continue to grow.
The supply of accommodations is far from sufficient to meet the ever-growing demand of millions of tourists. The room shortage is expected to continue despite increasing number of foreign visitors coming to Korea.
The shortage in accommodations is creating problems in further attracting more visitors. According to a survey conducted by the Korea Culture and Tourism Institute, 64% of local travel agencies said they have failed to receive foreign travelers, while 46% of foreign agencies failed to send out tourists to Korea, all because of the lack in lodging facilities.
There is a shortage in accommodations in Seoul City, which makes it difficult for foreign visitors to stay, and they end up going to hotels located in the outskirts of Seoul that lack various facilities and services. This gives a negative image to the nation's tourism industry, and hotel rates go up due to the imbalance between the supply and growing demand for rooms.
Increasing the number of the so-called tourist hotels is a solution that has been proposed by the government and the tourism industry. The Ministry of Culture, Sport and Tourism and Korea Culture and Tourism Institute jointly hosted a seminar to discuss plans on improving policies to help this.
In Korea, many people think that hotels are associated with so-called love motels. But tourist hotels and love hotels are clearly different. It's because of these misunderstandings that new tourist hotels should offer various facilities for not only their guests, but also for nearby residents.
It is even more difficult to build tourist hotels in the city because they come with the misconception that they're like love motels where inappropriate affairs take place. Tourist hotels do not have adult establishments such as bars and norebangs. Despite this, many local residents still oppose the construction of these facilities in their neighborhood.
The hotel that's going to be built in this area seems more like a love motel, not a hotel for foreign travelers. I think they should also get rid of the motels here because they're not educational for kids. These motels need to go in order for this neighborhood to develop.
Also, current laws set limitations on tourist hotels being built in the city, creating a stumbling block in expanding the numbers. Current laws define areas within 200 meters of the school as a school zone, either prohibiting the construction of harmful establishments that can affect student education or requiring approval from a school zone committee.
Lately, building a tourist hotel within the school zone has become a bigger issue. Since there are schools in every corner of Seoul, there are no actual areas where you can build hotels. There is a broad interpretation of what we categorize as hazardous elements. Hotels are not harmful establishments.
Meanwhile, there are other voices welcoming the construction of tourist hotels. Dongmyo Park, located in Jongno-gu in Seoul, is close to tourist central spots like Insadong, Jongno, and Old Palaces. Here, a tourist hotel is set to be built with cultural facilities to offer exhibitions and concerts for local residents.
It's good to have hotels. The area will be cleaned up, and the commercial district will get better. As we receive more foreign tourists, the shop will get cleaner as well. When hotels are constructed, I think the city environment will change for the better.
By attracting 12 million foreign tourists, Korea can create a revenue of 15.5 trillion won, or roughly $14.3 billion annually. Not only that, the construction of such facilities is expected to have a large impact on the surrounding area.
As you know very well, is the eastern part of Seoul. It's so old. They look at Seoul as a tourist image. So if they build do kinds of tourist hotels with design as a concept, I think it's going to be a landmark for the local development. So it's going to be a great economic benefit to the local residents as well as the Seoul areas.
But many local residents still have the tendency of thinking tourist hotels and motels are harmful establishments.
We think of hotels only as lodging facilities, but I hope this will change into thinking that hotels are places with history as well as a space for arts and cultural heritage. Hotels can create a broad range of cultural contents, and if this expands into being an art space, then how people perceive hotels will change in the future.
So the debate continues on the expansion of these tourist hotels, and there are laws limiting the establishment of the construction of harmful establishments, what are deemed harmful to these schools, and hotels fall under this category.
That's right. In Korea, many accommodations such as motels are located in areas that serve alcohol. And this gave tourist hotels a negative image, linking them with love motels, so-called love motels. And that is why building a tourist hotel nearby school zones or residential area come with many legal limitations. If I could just give you a few examples in other countries. Over in the UK, there is no legal limitation in building accommodation near school areas, according to experts, and that goes the same for other countries like France and the United States.
Okay, so these limitations do exist. I'm sure some people are for them, some people are against them. So what is the government going to do? What are some of the measures that the government is suggesting to come up with solutions?
Well, in order to change that negative image, the government has been making various efforts to integrate tourist hotels and culture industry along with various seminars scheduled to be held with the tourism industry to create diverse systems. And also there is a plan to push for a revision of Tourism Promotion Act that would allow at least 5-star hotels to be built near school zones. So if these legal restrictions surrounding tourist hotels are revised, these accommodations can develop and evolve over time.
The initiative sounds and looks good, but it's not like attempts were not made in the past as well. The problem is during off-season. I mean, do you have, when not a lot of visitors come, they pay a visit? I mean, does the government have any specific plans this time around that's different from the past that will make sure that this will happen?
Well, that's a good question, and that is why the government wants to integrate tourism industry, tourist hotels with the culture industry. And many tourism industry experts are focusing more on utilizing these tourist hotels as a culture space, such as holding exhibitions and concerts for local residents. And this can be developed as a culture and art space for tourist hotels in its own way. And then it can draw visitors all year round in that case, regardless of peak season or off-peak seasons.
Okay, well, Korea does want to become a major tourism hub, so I guess tackling the accommodation issue could be one of the homeworks that it needs to do before that can happen. Right? Thank you, Chanju, for this story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And still ahead on Korea Today, on Trending Now, we're going to look at some seasonless trends that entail shopping for sandals and swimsuits, sleeveless dresses in the winter, or enjoying a splash at a water park in this biting cold. Tamina brings us more on the trends that are moving beyond the seasonal boundaries. Stay tuned.
Photography is a very popular hobby, but there are professionals that do something very special, superimposing several thousand photographs for one particular image, and also having the shutter on, watching a ice sculpture melt. These are some of the ways that the photographer Kim Atta has set himself apart.
That's right. It's been 6 years since he last held his exhibition right here in Korea, his motherland. And this time you can enjoy his on-air project series, where it's been getting some great reviews for its philosophical richness. You'll take a look at this and find out more.
To captivate with a moment trapped in a single frame. Kim Atta has worked in seclusion for a very long time, but finally he has returned to the public. At a personal exhibition, he will display 40 of his most prominent works that represent his philosophy and unveil photographs he has been working on for some 10 years.
새로운 어떤 표현의 방법, 그 자체가 바로 제가 작업하는 오니어적 방법입니다. 존재하는 것은 모두 사라진다. 그것을 어떻게 보여줄 것인가. 사라지는 현상을 통해서 역설적으로 제일하는 거죠. 그동안의 어떤 현대미술 혹은 현대사진의 어법은 눈에 보이는 현상을 그대로 보여주는 것이었어요. 그것이 다큐멘터리나 혹은 추상이나 혹은 어떤 저널리즘이나 어떤 형태든 간에 사진이든 눈에 보이는 현상을 보여주는 것이 사진의 정의였죠. 그러나 저는 역설적으로 보이지 않는 것을 보게 하는 거죠.
All things eventually disappear is the philosophy behind his artwork, where he superimposed several tens of thousands of photographs to create just one image.
눈에 보이는 것이 마치 다 전부인 것처럼, 우리가 알고 있는 것이 전부인 것처럼, 그러나 세상은 눈에 보이지 않는, 우리가 미처 보지 못한 많은 또 다른 세상이 있다 하는 게 제 어떤 지론이죠. 결국은 눈에 보이지 않는 것을 드러냄으로써 우리가 관가했던, 우리가 눈으로 보고 다 알고 다 이해한다고 했던 것에 대해서 아니야, 그건 전부가 다 아니야, 우리가 모르는 또 다른 세상이 있다 하는 것을 역설적으로 설명해 주는 것 중에 작업이 인달라 시리즈입니다. 눈에 보이지 않지만 세상 모든 것들은 그물코처럼 얽혀서 관계하고 있다. 단지 우리가 그것을 만나지 못하고 다 보지 못할 뿐이다. 그런 이야기를 하고 있죠.
Once he begins a project, photographer Kim Atta pours all of his energy and soul into his creations. To display the disappearance of moving objects in a city, Kim has traveled to New York, Beijing, and other major cities in the world and left the shutter open for 8 hours. As a result, the busy streets of major cities look like eerie ghost towns.
제가 작업하는 그 성격인데 대충 하지 못하는 성격입니다. 사진은 일반 모든 사람들이 가장 쉽게 접할 수 있죠. 사실 셔터 누르면 모든 해결되니까. 그것이 쉽게 빠르게 어떤 것을 현상하고 기억하고 어떤 재현할 수 있는 매체가 사진의 어떤 장점인데, 그것이 곧 사진의 단점이 됩니다. 그래서 쉽게 어떤 사건과 혹은 사물과 컨택하고 그것을 마치 다 아는 것처럼 그렇죠. 예를 들어서 한 도시를 표현을 하는데, 즉 인달라식으로 표현을 하는데, 그래서 만 컷을 가지고 한 도시를 다 표현할 수 있을까 하면 그 불가능합니다. 어불성설이죠. 10만 컷, 100만 컷을 해도 사실 모자랍니다. 하나의 한 컷 혹은 하나의 화두, 하나의 시리즈, 한 프로젝트에 그렇게 때로는 5년, 때로는 10년 그렇게 집중하는 거죠. 하나의 사건이 가지고 있는 어떤 그 화두도 사실 지나게 가요. 모든 것은 변형하기 때문에 끊임없이 물고 늘어지는 게 제 작업 방식이죠.
His photographs have been at the center of attention in major modern art scenes such as New York and Venice. In 2006, he became the first Asian artist to hold a personal exhibition at New York's world-renowned photography museum, the International Center of Photography. Through this exhibition, New York critics hailed him as having the most philosophically novel ideas.
저는 사진을 전공을 하지 않았기 때문에 역설적으로 천만다행이라고 생각하는 사람 중에 한 사람이거든요. 그 다시 뭘 말하냐면은 사진적인 프레임에 함몰되지 않을 수 있었다. 자유로울 수 있다는 거죠. 다시 말해서 예술에 있어서 정의가 없습니다. 이것이 예술이다, 혹은 이렇게 해야 된다, 혹은 이렇게 해서는 안 된다 하는 것은 예술에서는 가장 무서운, 어찌 보면 하나의 개인을 살인하는 행위와 똑같은 건데, 무한 오픈 열어놔야 돼요. 뭘 남길 것인가, 무슨 이야기를 할 것인가. 그러니까 그 이야기를 하기 위해서 어디에 이것을 담는 것이 더 효과적일까? 사진은 단순한 도구에 불과합니다.
Photographer by trade, but he is now working on an art project that doesn't require a camera. Since 2010, he has been installing white canvases at historic sites around the world in an attempt to capture traces of nature. It's called The Project, Drawing of Nature, and he has taken on the challenge of creating a new movement in art history.
빈 캔버스를 2년 동안 세워서 캔버스가 자연과 물리적인 관계를 하게 하는 건데 큰 틀에서 보면은 어찌 보면 그것이 사진의 정의일 수도 있어요. 그 캔버스는 그 어떤 자연의 그 곳의 정체성을 그대로 고스란히 묻힙니다. 캔버스 흰 것 자체가 순수한 의미를 가지고 있고 또 역사를 케어하는 그 붕대 같은 그런 의미도 가지고 있어요. 상상 이상의 내가 상상하지 못하는 그런 아직 엄청나게 많은 것이 남았기 때문에 이 작업이 언제까지 갈지 사실 저는 상상할 수 없어요. 예상하지 못합니다. 아마도 내 생의 마지막 작업이 되지 않을까 그 정도만 가늠하죠. 그래서 전 세계 인류가 살아왔던 전 세계 모든 곳에 캔버스를 세울 겁니다. 어떻게 전개될지 알 수 없기 때문에 내일이 있으면은 그 미래만큼 새로운 세계가 있기 때문에 저의 역사는 계속 진행될 것이죠. On air, ongoing 할 것이죠.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chun Song-cho, and welcome to Hot Clicks. We begin today with someone familiar to you all, Josh from England. I've introduced him on Hot Clicks before. Last August, the video of him going around London and introducing people to Korean culture and kimchi went viral in Korea. So now I have an update on Josh's current whereabouts. After his video aired on TV, Josh continued to gain popularity on online communities and YouTube. Many Korean fans requested his address to send him some gifts, and oh my goodness, look at what happened. All those boxes are gifts from Korea.
우리 이렇게 많이 올 줄은 상상도 못했어요. 진짜 너무 감사해요.
There are so many packages from Korea that they are stacked all the way to the ceiling. Now you would wonder what's inside those boxes. They vary from all kinds of Korean snacks and Oreo cereal, which now you can only get in Korea, to some Korean games like 공기놀이 and hwatu cards. A variety of Korean goodies were sent to him. Among those countless gifts was a map. Using this, he even makes a point saying that Dokdo Island is Korean land.
그리고 떡도 보이시죠? 여기 한국 땅이야. 기억하고 있어?
The Himalayan range is home to the planet's highest peaks, including the highest, Mount Everest. And Korean photographer Lee Chang-soo captured its 14 peaks with his camera over the course of 700 days. Now, some of the photographs are circulating online and receiving lots of praise by many web users. So let's take a look at some of the photos right here. These beautiful photos are sites of Mount Annapurna, Mount K2, Mount Kanchenjunga, Mount Everest, those famous peaks to name a few. And as you can see, the scenic nature and lives of the Himalayan people were all captured in these amazing photographs. Many web users marveled at these exquisite and magnificent images, and they continue to spread and share them online. About 100 of these finest photos are set to be exhibited at the Seoul Arts Center in June this year, so people are certainly looking forward to that as well. Well, next up, until yesterday, Korea celebrated the Lunar New Year holiday, meaning there's so much food in every household. So online communities are now filled with creative food recipes to get rid of all that leftover holiday food without wasting it. In Korea, we eat a bowl of tteokguk or sliced rice cake noodle soup to celebrate turning 1 year older on Lunar New Year Day. So what do you do with the leftover tteok or rice cakes afterwards? You can make a favorite Korean snack, tteokbokki, with kimchi in it, then cover it with mozzarella cheese and bake it in the oven, and voila, you have created cheese kimchi tteokbokkum. Next is a recipe for leftover japchae or stir-fried glass noodles and vegetables. Place some japchae in rice paper and roll it up like a spring roll, then pan fry it to create this delicious-looking new dish. In addition, recipes that use leftover namu or seasoned vegetables to make 볶음 udon, japchae croquette, 생선전 hamburger, and a variety of other unique dishes are becoming popular posts on various online communities. There are two animation movies that gained a lot of attention over the holiday in theaters. And the first animation movie is Disney's Frozen. Over 5.4 million people have seen this movie in Korea, putting it at the top of the box office. The scene you're looking at now is where Anna wants to play with her sister Elsa by asking if she wants to build a snowman, but gets rejected. Various parodies of this scene are circulating online, and they are dubbed as the consequences of being addicted to Frozen. The key point in all these videos is that these people aren't knocking on their sister's bedroom door, but bathroom doors while their siblings are taking care of their business. In addition, a Korean 3D animation movie called The Nut Job is showing strong performance in North America. The movie premiered in theaters on January 17th in North America and has earned $40 million at the box office within 10 days. Not only that, President Park Geun-hye went to watch this movie, and it became one of the top online searches. In Korea, the movie started just last Wednesday, and it is getting a lot of attention for being the first movie that President Park watched since her inauguration. These two movies seem to be some of the key players in box office ticket sales this winter. And the voice cast for the Nut Job movie for the English dub includes some big names like Will Arnett, Katherine Heigl, Liam Neeson. So that's certainly something that you can look forward to as well.
A star-studded cast in the Korean market, in the Korean language, as well as the world market. Liam Neeson, that's a name that I like.
Yes, I know. Well, this is all I have for you today on Hot Click. So I'll see you guys back here next Monday. And back to you guys.
Thank you, Song-cho. I like the leftover food recipes.
Some of those things you could try out.
Right.
With the food that you have left over, and I have plenty left over at my house.
Right, let's go back to our Dami, who joins us from a belly dance academy. She is going to show us something unique.
All right, we'll be looking forward to that belly dancing at 7:37 a.m. on Korea Today. Dami, over to you.
Thanks, guys. I'm back reporting live from Shinsadong in Gangnam-gu, Seoul. And now that the holidays, the Lunar New Year's holidays is over, I'm pretty sure many of you, including me, have gained a couple of pounds because of all the delicious food that we ate over the holidays. So today I'm going to introduce to you an exercise that will help you with your diet. It's none other than belly dancing. Now, belly dancing, it originated from the Middle East. It's also called the Oriental dance. Belly dance is primarily a torso-driven dance with an emphasis on articulations of the hips. Now, one of the basic moves is where you emphasize the hips and abdomen, but move smoothly, kind of like the waves of the sea. Now, if you look back at the history of belly dancing, it started out as a dance to wish for a healthy birth for the mother. Belly dancing literally is an exercise that uses the muscles of the lower half of the body, and it helps with womb contraction, so it's great as postnatal exercise. Now, belly dance can also be called the dance version of yoga, as it not only emphasizes the curves of your body, but it helps with flexibility as well. It also gets the pelvis muscles, the shoulders, the abdomen, the butt, and many more muscles working, which helps you find your balance and metabolism, which helps with constipation. So, all in all, it helps protect and strengthen your abdominal area, and it helps you shape your body in a beautiful manner. So, it's a great exercise, but it's really perfect for women. So that's enough said. I think it's time for me to try out some of the moves. 그럼 저도 한번 조금 해볼게요. 네네. Wow. Whew, I must say my sides are kind of burning already. It definitely is a great exercise. Not only does belly dancing help you correct your body figure, but it really helps boost your confidence as well. So if you haven't tried this exercise, you should definitely try it out. I'm Idami, Korea Today.
we could all use a ab workout there, of course, for all of us that enjoyed the long holiday weekend, right? But for the South Korean national football team, it was a busy 4-day weekend. Now, coming off of a huge 4-0 loss against Mexico, it's time for the Taeguk Warriors to step it up against Team USA. Now, with the match taking place in Los Angeles, Chris Walendowski scores a double for Team USA as Korea failed to score for the second straight match. Now, with the loss, Korea is currently at 4 wins, 6 losses, and 3 draws under the management of Hong Myung-bo. Meanwhile, the team is set to return to Korea as they hope to work out their flaws before their friendly against Greece in March. Of course, with all the media and celebrities hanging out in New York City before the big game in New Jersey, Denver Broncos quarterback and future Hall of Famer Peyton Manning won his record 5th league MVP. After receiving 49 out of 50 votes, Manning, who set a new season record for passing yards and passing touchdowns, was the clear-cut winner here, as he also received the Offensive Player of the Year honors as well. The 37-year-old quarterback finished off his MVP season with over 5,400 passing yards and 55 touchdowns. And shifting over to golf, where the Omega Dubai Desert Classic took place over the weekend, with Stephen Gallagher winning the event. Now, not the best fourth round for Gallagher, but a strong first and third round helps him finish off the 4-day event, shooting a 16-under overall to finish with a 1-stroke lead over Emiliano Grillo of Argentina, who shot a 66 on the last day. And despite the $2.5 million bonus for anyone who pulls off a hole-in-one at the 17th hole of the Emirates Golf Course, the challenge seemed a bit too tough. And back here in the nation, we had a couple of KBL games that took place on Sunday as the Goyang Orions beat KCC Aegis 75-62, with Anyang KGC beating Incheon Itilan Elephants 83-77. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the struggling Wonjidong Promi take on KT Sonic Boom. A high-scoring game in the first half as KT rallies back to take a 43-36 lead thanks to Song Young-jin leading the way for KT. And despite Dongbu's Keith Randomman tearing it up in the fourth quarter, KT never looks back as Cho Sung-min finishes off with 21 points in the game as KT takes this game 77-65. And now finishing things off with some Sunday's V-League action. The first-place IBK Altos cruise past Hanguk Insurance Life Pink Spiders 3-0 as we move over to the Hyundai Capital Skywalkers take on Korean Air Jumbos. Now the Hyundai Capital Skywalkers looking to catch up to the first-place Samsung Hwajae Bluefangs, and they get a great start, taking the first 2 sets 25-20 and 25-20. The Skywalkers, thanks to Liberman Algamez and his game-high 24 points, never look back in this match as they take the third set 28-26 and a 3-0 win. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
You know, one of the things that's a perk about Korea is that we have 4 different seasons, and the seasonal trends usually differ from year to year as well. And each season seems to have its own trend, but that's all changing these days.
That's right. Buying sandals in the winter and going for some water fun in sub-zero temperatures in the winter. I was trying to combine water and winter at the same time. But all of these are some of the latest trends. Tamina joins us for more on this. Good morning.
That's right. Good morning. You covered a few of the trends that are happening where we're seeing a blending of seasons. So, for instance, as you mentioned, Min-jung, it's not odd anymore to see people wear sandals in the summertime, or to see people wear sandals in the wintertime, and to see people wear boots in the summertime. But these are just a couple examples of how these seasons are blending and how the barriers between seasons are breaking down. And we're going to take a look at more in this report. Skiing and snowboarding are winter privileges loved by many, but water parks that you can enjoy in the winter are also popular. Here's a water park in Icheon, Gyeonggi-do Province. It's below freezing outside, but despite the freezing weather, people are here, and they're here for the winter water pool, and they call this the breaking of seasons. We're going to check out more, so follow me. On average, the water park sees some 1,300 visitors on weekdays and 3,000 on the weekends. This is all throughout the year. Wow.
Wow.
The reason these visitors can enjoy the water park in the winter is because of the hot spring water, which is 34 degrees Celsius. Hot spring water raises your metabolism, flushes out toxins, and relieves pain. I'm having a good time.
It's not camera water, please.
Well, you're outdoors right now. And the water's so warm that it doesn't feel cold.
Nope. Very refreshing and a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun here.
Even when you step out of the water, it's not cold.
Wow, I wouldn't want to pay the
These
heating
people
bills.
seek out these parks at the peak of winter, and it seems like more people are captivated by this water fun in the cold.
The air is cold, but the water is very warm, so I came to enjoy some fun in the water with my husband and children.
And she's not getting out.
No, there are about 10 small and large-scale water parks like this that operate all year long.
My experience here today in an outdoor swimming pool in the winter was so nice. It's so toasty, and more than anything, it was really relaxing. So I give my experience a thumbs up, and I'm gonna get back to enjoying
it. These items that are enjoyed regardless of the season are called seasonless items. The term was mostly used in the fashion industry, referring to clothes you wear from late autumn to early spring, such as three-quarter sleeve shirts, leggings, and bandals or boot sandals, just to name a few.
Bandals.
Huh?
This is a spa brand store in Seoul. Swimsuits, straw hats, sleeveless dresses, and more.
Although it's
Here
winter,
at the store, you'll
a lot
find
of
summer
people
clothing
still come
all
to
year
our
long.
stores, just like in the summertime. Our sales figures are similar to the summertime as well. Also, because we sell summer items all year long, many people getting ready for their honeymoons or overseas trips come to our store.
These are figures of beachwear sales from an online shopping site. Last year, sales increased by 20%, and this winter, that's jumped to 36%. What's caused this increase?
특별히 보시는 거 있으세요? 이번에 동남아 여행 가는데요. 좀 추천해 주실 만한 옷 있으세요?
Like Kwakbomi, it's because there are more people traveling for the winter holiday.
Since it's winter, I was worried about where to buy summer clothes for my trip. So I'm glad there's a place that sells summer clothes.
Here's another place famous for a seasonless treat. Here they sell soft ice cream.
It's a bit cold, but I heard the ice cream was really good.
It's about $3.25 a go.
사람들이랑 소프트 아이스크림으로 주세요.
저희 우유 맛하고 홍차 맛 있고요.
The ice cream was first offered as a side menu at this coffee chain, but it became an instant sensation.
Because it's so hot indoors. Maybe that's why they sell like hotcakes.
The natural taste of frozen milk is what makes this soft ice cream special.
I think it makes it even more special eating ice cream in the winter like this.
Breaking out of the notion that winter is an off-season for ice cream, well, it's now become a seasonless snack. One large retailer said that winter sales of ice cream has doubled since last year. Like this, sales of seasonless items continue to grow.
In addition to the culture of enjoying in-season items, the market is appealing to consumers with demand for off-season items. In a way, the growth of seasonless products is a direct result of consumers actively seeking out what they want.
As lifestyles become more diverse, consumer demands have become more varied as well. As a result, seasonless trends that can be enjoyed all year long are likely to gain more attention.
As for the ice cream, I think I might be more convinced once they start selling 팥빙수 in the winter time, which is 팥빙수 is known as a very seasonal
Summer,
dish,
right?
All right, now swimsuits. So sales of swimsuits have been growing at a rapid rate.
Yeah. Believe it or not, this season, right, when it's usually not in demand. But we're seeing that according to department store sales figures, of course, this doesn't cover the entire market, sales of swimsuits surpassed those of ski wear, which is very odd because the winter season, you expect ski wear to be more in demand. However, that's just kind of shows how much of this seasonless trend is really catching on and how people are hopping on this bandwagon of breaking that notion.
And how people are staying a season ahead, it seems like, right? Buying things in advance. Now, do you think this will continue?
Absolutely, I do think this will continue, and this is because that we are seeing more people interested in overseas travel. We're also seeing that more sports leisure activities are being introduced. So these trends in itself, they're compelling people to go and hit stores and buy things that are not really in season at the moment. So those are some of the things that are causing people to hit the stores. Meanwhile, these trends, they're not going to be dying down anytime soon because we're seeing more functional, more diverse designs also being offered on the market for consumers. So more choices are going to lure people into the market, and I believe the fervor for this season-less phenomenon will not die down anytime soon.
More traveling helps too, I think, especially with the swimsuits.
You know,
Sure.
since I take on the role of being the skeptical person out of the couch, I'm not really convinced. I don't know. Maybe I'm sold on the water park, but I mean, do you have any other examples maybe that will I can be convinced a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about some of the fashion trends, the fashion industry, seeing different seasons blending together. Also, the home appliance industry. If you go to large marts, you'll see that already at the end of January, at the beginning of February, air conditioners are already being brought onto the shelves. And this is because at the end of January, you see heaters and hot air furnaces being taken off and being replaced with already air conditioners. And this is because the temperatures seem to get warmer faster with talk of global warming and so forth. So for these reasons, and because consumers are looking for that next thing, they're wanting that next step ahead, we're seeing even the home appliance market taking on this season-less trend.
Maybe because things are a bit cheaper around this time when they're not so hot in season also. Maybe all about the economy and economics, right?
Why are you being skeptical?
I'm leaning towards you now. Are you sold though, Hyun-kyung? Are you on this seasonless trend?
On the seasonless trends. I'll think about it and I'll let you know.
Okay. All right. So, group swim at the Hangang?
Yeah, right. Sounds like a plan. All right. Thank you, Mina, for this interesting report.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's all we have prepared for you on this Monday morning.
All right, enjoy your Monday back from the Lunar New Year holidays, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
That's right. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.